Agents, you can remove 90% of your stress and grow your business by doing this one thing. Hey, this is Josh Friberg with Abundant Agents, and today I want to share with you the secret to reducing your stress in your business by just doing this one thing that can really transform everything. And when I work with agents who figure this out, they find out that their business grows and their stress goes down. And what I want to do is I want to take you back to something we've talked about before around here, which is how we really learn how to be successful in those three key areas of life that mean so much to us: in our work, in our home life, and in our community. And you remember that the secret to being really successful in work is to be productive. And to be productive, you have to figure out this one thing. And the one thing is, I don't want to, get all clickbaity on you and bury the lead, is identifying what matters most in your business. When you figure out what it is that matters most, what it is that is the single most important thing in your business, that when it gets done, everything else comes from that, well, that's how you learn to be really productive in your business. Well, how do we do that? I mean, it sounds good when you say it fast, but let's get into the nitty-gritty of how you figure that out. And for most of you, by the way, I'm going to tell you where the last page of this chapter is. For most of you, it's creating new business. Listen, I understand the reality of your business right now. You come in, there's 400 emails, the phones are ringing off the hook. You've got clients who have claims and need help. You've got clients who need, new quotes for a different insurance policy or something like that. Maybe for real estate agents, it's you've got buyers that want to see houses. You've got a deal that's falling through because the lending has a problem. I understand that that's the chaos of your everyday life. But the secret to reducing your stress and growing your business is focusing on creating new business. You see, all of those things that come up only came up because one day, months ago, or maybe even years ago, you did some activities that caused your business to grow. You created new business. You found new clients. You found new sources of business. And when we do that every day, right, we're constantly creating an up cycle, right? We're creating something that spirals upward in our business. It creates more activity, it creates more revenue, and ultimately it creates more profit. Well, how are we going to figure that out? How are we going to identify what activity matters most, and how are we going to actually reserve time to do it? Well, in order for me to show you that, I need to go back to an old classic, and you guys know this book. It is 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. This is a classic. Go back to it 100 times. Read this book every year. If you haven't read it in a couple years, pull it out right now. But Stephen Covey teaches us something, and you've learned this before. It's a simple quadrant for thinking about the activities that you do. And here's how the quadrant works. We have activities in our life that are urgent, they have to get done right now, or at least someone perceives that they have to be done right now. And there are activities that are not urgent. Now, the other thing that Covey teaches us is there are activities that are important and there are activities that are not important. And when we talk about important, what we're talking about is the things that connect with your, at least as it relates to our work, with our business goals, right? With the main purpose of our business, right? The primary purpose of our business, not the secondary, not the tertiary, but the primary purpose of our business. Well, when it comes to that, we need to be able to distinguish between the important and the not important, the important and the not important. And when it, because most of our lives are driven by the urgent, they're driven by things, I need this now, I need this by Tuesday, I need this immediately. And so we respond to that. But what Covey teaches us is that in this first quadrant, the things that are important and urgent, these really are emergencies, right? And I'm going to put big explosive, right? These are emergencies. There's sirens involved in these. These are things that are really, kind of mission critical, and also they're time critical. But then there's these activities that are really important in our business, but they're not urgent. Here's how I like to think of it. These are the things that nobody's going to come and say, hey, did you do this? Nobody's going to come to you and say, hey, did you call through your list and reach out to all of our current customers who don't have life insurance and offer them an opportunity to talk about life insurance? Or maybe I pulled the list of all the people in all of our current book, and I found everybody who's on a term policy and maybe should consider transitioning to a permanent policy, right? Well, that's actually really important. That can drive your business. That could triple your business this year just by doing that activity. But nobody's going to come alongside and be like, hey, you didn't get to that. That will never take on the same level of urgency as the customer who calls that got in a car accident yesterday or had a house fire, right? And so these activities often are very quiet. I like to call these the polite activities. They'll sit quietly in the corner and wait their turn. But here's what happens. If we don't attend to these, eventually it becomes emergencies because we wake up one morning and we're not nearly as profitable as we should be, or maybe we're not profitable at all. We realize we've lost business out of natural attrition and haven't replaced it with new. And so what happens is too many of us spend our time down here. We spend all of our time down here in the urgent but not important. And here's what I mean by that. They're the things that constantly are filling our inbox. Our phone is making noises. It's calling our attention. It's trying to drag us into it. But it's not necessarily the most important thing for our business. Up here, this is what we call what matters most. What matters most. And when we do what matters most, I want to tell you a couple secrets. This quadrant shrinks. There are less emergencies when we do what matters most. If for no other reason, and this is why I say this is the number one way to reduce your stress level, because when you do this, when you do what matters most, every day you come into your office and you do an hour, 2 hours of creating new business, well, guess what? The emergencies become less of a problem. We suddenly aren't living and dying on every deal, on every dollar of premium that comes in the door. We can say, you know what, maybe this person isn't a good client for us, and that's okay, right? We're stop trying to force things that shouldn't be forced. And we're attending to things before they become emergencies. Additionally, we're less stressed because we're not constantly stuck in the urgent. We're not constantly stuck in the putting out fires. I'll tell you a quick story. I had a coach. I told him once when I called him, I said, oh my gosh, I've been so busy this week. I've just been putting out fires all week. And he said to me, this is a good friend of mine, Drew Lee. And Drew said, he goes, oh my gosh, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. What do you mean? And he goes, was anybody hurt? I'm like, why are you being so dramatic? What are you talking about? And he said, well, you said you were putting out fires all week. He goes, where was the fire? What caused it? Did you use a fire extinguisher? How'd you get it out? And I said, come on, dude, I'm being metaphorical. You know that. And he goes, no. You're not. You're doing two things. One, you're increasing your stress level needlessly. Two, you're making yourself sound cooler than you are. You're not a firefighter, right? What did you do? Oh, you got some time-sensitive documents to a title company? Let's call it what it is, because when we try and make it more dramatic than it is, we're actually increasing our stress level. And we're taking on stress of other people that maybe we don't need to. And it's because we're spending too much time in this area, this urgent but not important area of our life. So here's what we can do, is we can actually design our days around the thing that matters most. And listen, I know you're conscientious. I know you're really good at your job and you're great at what you do, which means you're going to get to the things that are important or are urgent. You're going to get to them. You'll get those time-sensitive documents to the title company. You'll return the phone call about the person who was in the car accident, so they're not waiting or worried. I know that you'll get to that, right? I'm not worried about that. What I'm concerned about is the things that actually matter most to your business, which is creating new business every day. You might not be getting to that, and that's dangerous for your business. So today, as we consider again how we can be productive at work, present at home, and purposeful in community, the first thing we need to do is identify what matters most, and then to build our schedule around it. That's the way we get to true abundance.